In case you guys couldn't tell, I was only a little bit excited for this movie. Like, just a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean like a tiny bit. And when I say tiny, I mean just like a teeny weeny little bit, like the world's smallest little violin. Oh my god! Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Reviewing the Cineweb. In case you don't know, my name is Alex Angelopoulos. I was bitten by a radioactive film spider, and for the last 8 years, God, I feel old, I have been the one and only friendly neighborhood film nerd. Pretty sure you guys know the rest. And, well, for today's first episode of this review series, or just review, or I don't know how to label this. Labels are weird. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel to the groundbreaking Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Here, I even came prepared. I had the little, DVD here on the side. It's been a long time coming. A lot of you probably know. The first Into the Spider-Verse, I don't think anyone expected that movie to be as amazing as it was. Pardon the amazing pun, because, it's kind of like whole Spider-Man's trademarked adjective. Nobody expected an animated Spider-Man side quill, or whatever Sony wanted to label it as the time, to be not just one of the best Spider-Man films out there, not just one of the best comic book films out there, not just one of the best animated films out there, but one of the best and most groundbreaking movies in, not even just the last 10 years of history. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse changed everything. We're seeing so much of that right now in terms of animation. So many animation companies now starting to catch up to the trend of blending hand-drawn visuals with CG animation and a whole lot more. Like this year we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem coming out in August. It's taking a note from Spider-Verse. We have Disney even taking a note with their upcoming release Wish in November. Pixar is still trying to experiment quite a lot with Elemental. And now we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, a movie that was delayed only surprisingly not as much because of the pandemic as some other releases were, because it was gonna come out a little while after anyway, and it is an animated movie. I mean, after the pandemic release delay to, I believe it was October of last year, they still had to delay it again to this June because it's animation, and not even just animation, it's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where, we could tell from the first trailer a year and a half ago, I think it was even a little bit before No Way Home came out, where we actually got the first reveal that it was going to be somewhat of a part one. They eventually changed the title, that it's going to change the game with animation once again. I mean, how could you not be excited? No matter how much you like or love Spider-Man, I think it's safe to say you all know how much I enjoy him, but even to people who might have not even seen a single Spider-Man movie, just only know that he's one of the more popular superheroes, they've seen Into the Spider-Verse and adore it. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, it's special. It's not just a special Spider-Man movie. It is a special movie, and I am more than pleased to report that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is just as special. This is a no spoilers review, so I am not going to go into anything there, but it is absolutely phenomenal. It is easily in the same ballpark as Into the Spider-Verse. Still floored. I'm still processing it. I had to see it twice to be able to really put together my thoughts for this review. It's not like I wasn't going to see this more than once, but excuses. This year for comic book movies has been, I'd say, for a lot of people, people were saying for years, oh, superhero fatigue, whatever. And comic book movies just continue to come out, continue to be good, continue to make money. So those people who said, superhero fatigue is gonna die out like the Western, hasn't really happened to a significant degree. I do feel like it has happened. Like, you've seen like some signs of it this year with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania not doing as well critically and kind of, bellowing out at the box office right after its opening weekend. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, I really enjoyed that movie, even though a lot of other people didn't, and it did not do well at the box office. I mean, for Ant-Man, quality was a part of it. For Shazam, quality was somewhat of a part of it, but also, the DC stuff surrounding that also had to deal with it. This is all besides the point, because I am a tangential freak. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in its opening weekend is already starting to do, obviously much better than Into the Spider-Verse. It still just baffles me how 5-6 years ago, again, God, I feel so old, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Sony did not believe in that movie. I don't know why. Sony did not believe that Into the Spider-Verse was as special as it was. If they did, I guarantee it would have made much more than, I believe it was 400 million-ish worldwide, and it would have done more than just win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. It probably would have gotten a Best Picture nomination, a Best Adapted Screenplay, maybe even a Special Achievement Award. I certainly think it deserves it, and I think Across the Spider-Verse deserves it once again. It is incredible. It is so absolutely incredible to see the amount of work that they put into this. Holy hell, the animation. Again, the first Into the Spider-Verse changed the game with animation. I am a massive fan of animation. It blew me away from the first teaser, and then the actual movie, blew my mind completely. It blew everyone's minds. And Across the Spider-Verse, visually, is arguably more ambitious than Into the Spider-Verse visually. And that's saying a lot because, again, Into the Spider-Verse, I have it here. You can even tell from the cover art that it's not like any other animated film out there. Across the Spider-Verse is pushing the bounds even farther with the animation quality. They use so many of the same techniques that they did so wonderfully in the first movie, with the blend of CG, the comic overlaying, the mix of different animation styles, the beautiful visuals, both in terms of just the execution of it. The colors are outstanding. This movie has one of the most wide color palettes out there just because of just what this movie is, and it's gorgeous. The first movie, every frame really was a painting. Here, if every frame isn't a painting, then every sequence is like a shot of adrenaline jumping into your arm, with how quick-paced the action is, with how they just find new ways to use this visual evolution to evolve the way we tell stories in film by taking a note from comics and so many other forms of storytelling. This is without me bringing up specific examples. Because if I brought up a specific example or examples, I would be here all day. It's gorgeous. It is filled with love in every single frame from the massive, massive animation team. I believe it was over 1,000 people on the crew, according to Lord and Miller. And it shows. It is one of the most visually ambitious and impressive movies I have ever seen in my entire life. And I don't think that's going to, lose its spot anytime soon. It is phenomenal. It is as visually beautiful, as it is energetic, as it is dark and heart-wrenching and heartwarming. It is so many things because this movie is so many things. Bravo to Joaquim Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting the third director's name, I'm gonna have it right here, or Gianella will. Thank you, Gianella. Bravo. I mean, what they did as the directors, what the whole animation team did, the editing is again outstanding, because with all these crazy, insane visuals piling on top of one another, like the biggest, fattest, tastiest ice cream cake you could ever imagine, the editing is extraordinary. Once again, Daniel Pemberton's score, incredible, energizes the movie so much when it needs to, with such vibrant personality that shifts depending on each character and their different styles. I particularly love Spider-Gwen's new theme this time around. 29.9 also has a great theme. And the sound is absolutely extraordinary. It's just, it's electric. No pun intended to Miles's powers. I believe it's so different with the sound that a lot of theaters are actually not even mixing it properly, because they did so much with it, like the visuals, that most theaters aren't equipped, or they don't know how to present this type of movie. But I saw it in IMAX the first time, regular the second. The second time I did notice the dips in sound. I definitely did notice that, but I could still hear it well enough, and I don't know if I really blame the filmmakers, because it's extraordinary sound-wise. Again, uses great editing, animation, directing, production design, just the visuals. I could go on and 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 on about that, and I really want to. It's gorgeous to look at, but visuals are nothing without substance, and the main substance of any Spider-Man movie is the characters, and the ensemble of characters, once again, as they did so well with Into the Spider-Verse, is absolutely extraordinary. Shameik Moore reprises his role as Miles Morales, who has become even more popular since the release of Into the Spider-Verse, and the work he does with Miles's voiceover performance it's also extraordinary. I would probably say it's a very natural progression of where Miles was in the first movie. His arc in this movie is really, really profound, which, profound like you'd expect in a deep Shakespearean drama, and not Spider-Man. But, Spider-Man has some of the best stories of any storytelling, and Shameik Moore continues to blend this iconic Spider-Man snark with the soul of his character, the issues, him trying to come to terms with his identity, trying to find his place in the world, trying to feel like he belongs, both as a son and as a superhero. He does so much with this character, and again, the material is all there, and he definitely steps it up. But I want to open with Shameik Moore because he is the lead of the movie, but I think one of the most surprising things is Spider-Gwen in the movie. And I adored the character of Spider-Gwen. I adore Haley Steinfeld. I thought she was great in Into the Spider-Verse. The character was done really well in Into the Spider-Verse. But an extra emphasis is put on her here. I'd probably say, without going into too much, that she's probably next to a co-lead here, and oh my god, she just is magnificent. Manages to break your heart as much as she manages to make you smile, both Spider-Gwen the character and Haley Steinfeld's voiceover. She really is just dealing with so much in this movie, along with Miles. So well done. Spider-Gwen's story here was really, really heart-wrenching. It was one of the most heart-wrenching aspects of the movie. Again, no spoilers. Some of the moments where I was welling up the tears the most were coming from Spider-Gwen. And I guess I wasn't really expecting that, because, again, she was great in the first movie, but the main emotional center was Miles, and he still is here, but the extra weight that they put behind her, it works. It shows she's extraordinary. I adore Spider-Gwen. I adore Haley Steinfeld's voiceover as Spider-Gwen. It just, like, it's hard not to love her and feel for her because of the way they treat her character. The visuals around her are, again, exceptional. Her world is shown in this film, and the color palette of all those neon colors are just extraordinary. She gives so much energy while also giving so much heart, and that is like maybe my favorite performance of the movie. But again, it is quite a great cast. Jason Schwartzman as the Spot is really good here. He's definitely a very different villain compared to Kingpin in the last one, who is much more grounded and serious, as you would expect from Kingpin. But the Spot also has a really tragic backstory that they really did save for the movie, and also funny too. Like, Jason Schwartzman manages to crack me up as the Spot and also like break my heart because of what he has gone through and what he's trying to do to the Spider characters presented. It's just, he's a really strong antagonist. Another person who I would consider an antagonist in this movie is Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara as Spider-Man 2099, which I still remember being very, very, very surprised from the first teaser when it seemed like he was going to be the main threat. I mean, I had heard vaguely that the Spot was going to be, but when it was just seeming like he was going to be like on Miles' ass so much in this movie, I was surprised because I always thought Spider-Man 2099 was so cool as a kid. I always knew he was a little bit more serious from my memories of Spider-Man Edge of Time and Shattered Dimensions, the video games, and from the little bits I know from his comics history. But Oscar Isaac, I mean, he's always great, and if anything, it's less surprising that he is great, but Spider-Man 2099, it is a hard word to say very quickly, just infuses the movie with so much weight. He really sets the stakes for the movie, but, you know, he's also gets a quip here and there, and he's great as well. Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk. Not a Spider-Man I usually know a lot about, but he's a whole lot of fun. His animation style is so cool, and Daniel Kaluuya, he actually gets to use his British accent. I know, a British actor in a Hollywood movie being British. That's so weird, but he does great with it. Spider-Man India, I know it was Dopinda from Deadpool. He was also great. Oh god, so many people. I mean, it's the Spider-Verse, so obviously there's a lot of different people. You know, obviously a number of cameos, a number of which I won't spoil. A lot of those really work here because they don't feel too intrusive for like the layperson. And as a mega fan, I, really enjoyed them. They added a lot of soul to the movie. What an extraordinary cast. If they're not making you laugh, because this is a Lord and Miller movie, it is insanely funny at points. They're making you cry or they're making you shake in your seat. None of that would be anything without the incredible story and screenplay that Lord and Miller with Dave Callahan wrote. I mean, Lord and Miller's stamp is just as much on this movie as it was the first one, and it just proves to me even more that they are storytelling geniuses. Their mix of such natural and well-timed wit, the self-awareness that is as funny and satirical as it is self-aware, in the sense that it's looking in deep, it's breaking down these stereotypes, these ideologies of these characters that we've known for years or haven't known for years, and it just does it so well. They do such a good job with this story. I heard that it was going to be darker and sadder than the first movie. I can confirm that. It is a known fact that this movie has a cliffhanger ending that I will not spoil, because holy crap, you will not expect it. I did not expect it. aside from me just not really always liking part 1s and part 2s in titles, it does feel like it stands on its own as its own story with so many intertwining themes, so many intertwining storylines, extends intenses and purposes. It should not work. Just like Into the Spider-Verse, it takes the comic book element of so many things going on, so many convoluted, ways that things work or motivations or whatever, and it does it all beautifully. It's coming of age. It's searching for who you belong. It's searching for your place in the universe, or in this case, the Spider-Verse. It is so many different things. Some of my favorite moments aren't even the actions set pieces, which are obviously extraordinary, again, to the animation team and just how much energy they infuse into them. Like, they're extremely well written too, but like it's the scenes where they're just talking to each other, talking about what it means to only be able to talk to some people about being Spider-Man, or whatever your secret is, or whatever your thing is that you can only talk to one person about. It's, learning how to grapple with your, relationship with your parents, because I feel like that relationship in the movie worked so well. How to grapple with the consequences and responsibilities of being Spider-Man, being someone who cares so much, being someone who can do so much, and yet they keep getting life pulled away from them because that's the nature of the job description, and the tensions between that and Miles and Miguel, inner workings between his connection to the Spot, which again, I feel like I don't want to spoil because I didn't know too much about it. It's extraordinary. Now, to get into like some of my critiques, because yes, I do have a handful. Actually, really like one key thing, because as I mentioned, there is that dual antagonistship, I hope that's a real word, between Jason Schwartzman as the Spot and Oscar Isaac as Spider-Man 2099. And for a good chunk of the movie, it feels like, oh, okay, Spot's the main bad guy. And then it feels like, I want to say somewhere around the second half, it kind of veers more towards Spider-Man 2099. I can't tell if that's just me. And it could be in part because of the two-part nature of this, the to be continued, like with the balance between Miles and Gwen as protagonists here. I feel like it was a little bit more uneven with Spider-Man 2099 and the Spot, because even though the Spot is the villain and Spider-Man 2099 is a hero who just has different beliefs clashing against Miles, again, both work very well, and in the grand scheme, it's not gonna ruin the movie for you, but it is something that I did notice, that there was a definite shift. I could feel it kind of in the structure of the movie due to the two-part nature of it. Again, this movie stands on its own. It's a very minor thing in the grand scheme. It's really my only major critique with this movie, is that dual antagonistship. It's common for comic book movies and comic book stories to come into this. I thought Into the Spider-Verse did it pretty well with having Kingpin as the main bad, and then all of them are basically different iterations of his goons. A lot of people are saying this is better than Into the Spider-Verse, and it is like by a margin. Like if Into the Spider-Verse is like up here, I have no clue if this is being shown. Across the Spider-Verse is like the slimmest margins under it for me personally, and that is just on 2 viewings, because in theory it could change, because it is such an extraordinary piece of cinema. Yes, I'm using the word cinema. Marty, it is cinema. It is cinema, Marty! In general, it is like really that thing with Spider-Man 2099 and The Spot. And that's like, it's not like something that like irks me while I watch the movie, because if it was something that irks me, then they'd be like, oh, okay, that's a little odd. It's very minor, again, in the grand scheme. And if anything, because it's one of the most ambitious, wide-stream mainline releases I have ever seen put in a movie theater or on a wide release scale, if this is the only thing that I can talk about the movie that is like not like extraordinary, mind-blowing, that is saying so much. I adored Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse with every fiber of my being. It was my most anticipated movie of the year by far. I mean, there's a little bit of a bias there, but it fulfills that. You're not going to be ready for it if you haven't seen it yet. And even if you have seen it, I'm sure you're just like me. You're still just in awe and shock. To give my final rating for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, in case anyone doesn't know, I do an objective and a subjective rating. For my objective rating, it is easily a 9.5 out of 10. It could very well become a 10 on repeated viewings. Again, I never like someone who's like, the rating sticks. And especially with this movie, it could easily go to a 10. I adore it with every ounce of my being. And yeah, for the subjective rating, I adore it. I love it. It's so good. It's so, I knew I had to see it in IMAX for the first viewing. I got this cool little collectible ticket. Of course, I had to get the popcorn bucket. I knew I was going to get this stuff anyway because I'm a massive Spider-Man fan. I'm so insanely happy that it's more than living up to expectations. It's more than just like the first Into the Spider-Verse. It's more than just an amazing Spider-Man movie. It is an extraordinary piece of movie that I think everyone needs to see, because I think this movie really can be for anyone. And I think that's one of the magical pieces of Spider-Man as a character. Without this character, I am not who I am today. With Into the Spider-Verse, it changed filmmaking and animation. With Spider-Man No Way Home, changed my life. It intertwined 3 major film franchises while creating an extraordinary story that changed me so much. I mean, every Spider-Man movie has had a huge part of my life. Every Spider-Man game has been a huge part of my life. The comics that I have read, I'm nothing without Spider-Man. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is yet another wonderful addition into his cinematic lineup that will be cherished as a classic for years to come. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. Sorry, Evil Dead Rise. As my one friend put it when I told him about a month ago that it was my favorite movie of the year, well, at least it's going to be your favorite movie of the year for one more month. And, he wasn't wrong. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Go see it, everyone. Go see it. Please. I have genuinely no idea how long I have been talking about this movie. I have no clue if this is going to be how long I'm going to be discussing any movie for Reviewing the Cineweb. I have no clue if this is going to be the permanent setup for the backdrops. A lot of unknowns in terms of doing video reviews. It's my first one solo in this style, so hopefully it all works out. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching this review. Again, go see Across the Spider-Verse if you haven't. Go see it a second time if you haven't. And if you have seen it, let me know what you think. Tell me, I want to exchange secrets with you about, what did you think of this part how was your theater in this area? What did you think of this twist? Or whatever. Let me know. I love that part of film discussion, assuming there's no punching or fist fights involved. That's, one of the things I really love about talking about movies. So please let me know about that. I will hopefully sometime within the next couple of weeks be trying to get a spoilers discussion with myself and several other film Spidey fans. So be sure to look out for that. And I will also be hoping to get more reviews out, as many as I can before my family vacation. Either way, these video reviews are here to stay at the moment, and I'm happy to get the ball rolling with my guy. Thank you again so much for watching, and have a great whatever time of the day it is for you. Take care, everyone.